Let's talk about vendor relationships.
Yeah.
So over the years, we've seen this project evolve, the Code of Conduct, the Grocer Code of Conduct. And as an academic, I've publicly credited a few people because it's happening. And frankly, 10 years ago, if you would have asked me, I would have said, if the code is ever to happen, it would be a miracle. So I think a miracle is happening because it's happening.
It's happening.
So, but I do credit a few people, and one of the key ones is you. I think you played a really critical role in making it happen. I think it was necessary. It's important, and hopefully it will work. It will be effective. How do you qualify how important is your relationship with your vendors, and how did that drive your will to make the code happen?
Well, a few minutes ago you said, was it important to come from somewhere other than grocery? And I think it was important because I knew retail. But the other thing was I had different experiences. So when I worked at Sport Chek, I mean, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, Columbia, these were big brands. And you had to partner with these brands. You had to have them in your stores. And if they didn't like you, they wouldn't let you have your products in the stores. Yeah. Nike's a powerful brand. And so I was more used to really convivial relationships with suppliers all through, and that's the way I like to do business anyway, but all through my career. And I'd always looked over and seen these brawls in the grocery business. And then the great Michael Graydon invites me right away almost to meet with a group of what people call vendors, I call supplier partners. Yep. Supplier partners. And I said the right things, and I was being friendly, and they just sat there looking at me.
Who is this guy?
Who is this guy? It's a bunch of you-know-what. We don't trust him.
How far in were you in your CEOship?
It was,
like
I think it was at the store conference. I think it was the first.
Oh, the store?
So whatever store is every year. I joined
in
in January. So,
May.
Right, so it was 4 or 5 months in. So we ended, and Michael Graydon said, well, I think that went well. I go, what do you mean it went well? They looking at me like I'm the enemy. And he says, well, it's the industry, and they're not going to trust you for a long time. I go, this is not right. I mean, we're trying to grow the pie bigger. We're trying to create jobs in this country. We're trying to supply food to our
It was
customers.
bad. I mean, it was bad.
And it was bad. And it was a brawl, and it had no rules, and you could take advantage of people, and it was okay. And that does not create lasting trust. At the same time, I thought that Empire was living by most of the rules, and that we were doing a pretty good job, not perfect as Graydon would tell me at the time. And so and then Mark Taylor, who's the CEO at Lactalis, he came into this office where we're sitting right now, and he told me all about the UK. And Mark's a passionate person. And he left my office, and then I met with Michael Graydon about a possible code, and then I went to work and studied it myself.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what could possibly be wrong about treating people, like doing business, negotiating, but treating people fairly, respectfully, and not screwing them over? That seems like a pretty good thing. And I had support from the Sobeys family, from the board, from our chief merchant at the time, Pierre Saint Laurent, and we went to work on it. But it's okay to support something. It was the work of others, the Graydons, the Taylors, especially Doug Nathanson, who's our chief development officer and general counsel.
Yeah,
they did all a lot of the heavy lifting to get it where it is today.
Yeah.
But we had to go public, and I wasn't, I didn't get any Christmas cards that year from my competitors, but all of them have come on board and see the wisdom of this now. And I think that'll be something I look back on years from now, and it may be one of the things I'm most proud of.
As an impact on an industry, it's probably the most, you've had a tremendous impact on the organization and the people, but on the industry, it's probably one of the biggest achievements or the biggest, most impactful notes in your career.
Yeah, I think it is. And it really, when I came out with it, I wasn't, we weren't all the way there.
Yeah.
And someone asked me a question in an interview, and I said, we need a code of conduct.
We're done.
And if we can't do it, you should regulate it. And I hate regulation.
Yeah.
But something had to change because it
I
wasn't
remember,
good for anyone.
your talk at the Empire Club, I think, to me was the clincher. To me, I mean,
That was shocking.
and one night, I mean, do you remember Michael called me, and then on Zoom, I see Michael Graydon and Michael Medline to talk about the code, and that's when I knew it's going to happen.
Yeah, and
Wow.
and as you pointed out, it's taken a while, but sometimes good things take a while.
Yeah.
And I'm,
Do you have faith in the current model, the governance that we have now?
Yeah, I think they've done a good job. I think people, what's a good negotiation? Everyone's happy, but they're not too happy, right? Like it's even-handed. I think it's good for everyone. Over time, maybe we can make it stronger. Maybe we can tweak it. But we wanted to get everyone over the finish line, and so I'm proud.
What does Michael say? A bit of water in the wine for everybody, right?
Yeah, and
as a solution, right?
and he was a really good partner to deal with. Michael Graydon is not no pushover, but he was a very fair-minded person, and so I enjoyed getting to know him well. I would count him as a good friend.
Fantastic. Last couple of questions for you. I want to turn our minds to the business a little bit. Let's talk about AI. I mean, it's every conversation I have, eventually we get to it in one way. There's the conventional, I call conventional discussion, which is what are you doing internally with AI, efficiencies and all that. But I'm more interested now very quickly in how consumers are using AI to shop you in different ways. And, there's stats like 20% of organic traffic to major retailers now come from ChatGPT. That was 0 8 months ago. So there's another transformation. I think it's another, if I look at milestone transformations, e-commerce was one, likely COVID was another. I think AI is a third transformation. How are you thinking about the consumer perspective and getting the organization ready for how people are going to shop you maybe a bit different?
Yeah, a few things. One is I totally agree with you. I think it's going to be the biggest transformation in our lives, let alone business, that we'll ever see, to be honest with you. And that if you don't take it seriously, you're dead. And I talked earlier about data, about and about technology and connecting with your customers. And fortunately, we have a very forward-looking chief technology officer in Julia Knox, who came from the business, and she looks at AI not just as a way to be more efficient, which everyone, I guess, looks at.
And everybody's, by the way, everybody's going to get there anyway. So it's going to level, it's going to be hard to have competitive advantage, I feel, at some point, right?
I think that's right. But how you translate that into making decisions, how you translate that into thrilling your customers. We started on that journey a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. So I think that was relatively early. It wasn't the fastest, but it was certainly not the slowest. But I think that if I were taking over as CEO today, I've told our board that would be my number one priority, other than the day-to-day,
put numbers on the board.
Putting numbers on the board and make sure our customers and our teammates are doing well and healthy. If you're not paying attention to that, you're missing the boat. Yeah, and you're gonna have trouble. So I think we have all the infrastructure in place and the leadership, and we've been working on advanced analytics and some AI for quite a while now, especially on the merchandising side. And so I'm confident that we can make this an opportunity rather than a threat.
Yeah, interesting. And particularly as consumers start to just do things in very, very different ways, I'm sure the marketing team is all over that. Because if I was running the marketing team, I'd be like, the risk is it's another intermediary between you and the customer. Yeah. I think the opportunity is the darker side of AI. I mean, if you're online these days, you see these videos created. You don't know what reality is anymore, but you know what reality is in your stores.
Yes, we do.
And with the people, right? And I think consumers are going to turn their minds to that sooner than later. And that's that trust factor that you brought up much earlier. Trust is going to matter more now than ever. A leadership question for you. In America, it's reputed that each president leaves a letter in the drawer for the next president. I'm not sure what letter will be left for the next president in this administration, but if you thought about advice for your successor, what would a couple of things be that you would say? Here's what you just talked about AI, that's tactical, but how do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I think every CEO has to do it their way. I got to do it my way, and my successor will have to do it their way. So I am very trepidatious giving, Polonius-like advice to my successor. And I don't know. Until you asked that question, I thought I wouldn't give a note that it was a bit presumptuous, but maybe I will now. I don't know. I think what I probably would do is give them a hug and wish them well and tell them that that I'm turning over a great company to them, and they're gonna have a lot of fun. But it comes with great responsibility. You're responsible for 129,000 teammates and their lives and
it's a big duty
livelihood.
of care, right?
And that always weighed on me. That number of people we were responsible for, and that the job is to leave it in a heck of a better place than you found it, knowing full well that it is a race that never ends. That I'm passing the baton to someone who's I have great confidence in the board that they'll make the right decision and put a great person in place who will take us to even greater heights.
Clearly, you had a good relationship with the family, and so any advice that you would give?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm a little biased on this. I hope it's an internal candidate. I think it should be, and I think it would be. It would be tough to go twice externally. I was external, and my rule is if the company's doing well, you try to go internal if you have a candidate. And so that person, I hope, has a good relationship with the Sobeys family already if it's an internal candidate. At the same time, I think everyone knows my view that working for great Canadian families like I did at Canadian Tire and at Empire Company is fantastic, and that I got to work with people who are passionate about Pictou County, they're passionate about Nova Scotia, about the country, and love our business. And we're all in our business at one point, and have great instincts for our business. And so, I really do. One of the things I wanted to do, I've told the Sobeys family this, is I wanted them to be able to walk. To be proud of their company, and when they walk through anywhere, especially in Pictou County, to be proud of what we've done. And I think that we've done it, and we've done it together. And so I would, listen to the Sobeys family. They have great wisdom, and they're darn smart. At the same time, you have to have healthy discussions. You have to.
This spring, actually, I was keynoting the Halifax Chamber of Commerce spring dinner. It was at the convention center, and there was the Sobeys, members of the Sobeys family were there. And so they came to me after, and we did talk. We talked about you. We talked about the leadership. We talked about the business, and they were all proud. I just wanted to let you know about that.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
And I without giving away too much, I invited the members of the Sobeys family who are on our board to dinner at Crombie House, which is where our founder's house was in Pictou County a month or so back. And, wondering what the agenda was. Well, the agenda was to thank them for letting me serve this company and have the opportunity of a lifetime.
Wow.
And we reminisced, and they told the greatest stories about their ancestors
Probably.
and the founder.
Yeah.
And then I'd done a lot of research.
Any
so I
juicy
told them
stories for us, by the way?
No, it's mostly to do with black labs going to the. Well, there is a good story. I'll tell you if you got time. But
Yeah, sure.
So JW started the company, but Frank H was the person who grew the company, and he was a business genius. But he also, I think, was pretty good at training dogs because I couldn't believe this story, but it's absolutely true. He would start the barbecue. He would call number one store, which was the first store we had, which was, I don't know, a number of blocks, 5 or 6 blocks from his house. And he would call them and order the steak. And then he would ask his black lab and I can't remember the name, to go to the store and pick up the steak. And there was a little door where the dog could go in. The dog supposedly waited patiently at the butcher for the butcher. The butcher would double wrap the meat. It would put it in the black lab's, mouth. Somehow this dog did not eat the meat.
That's what I call discipline.
Would wander home and would go to the backyard and deliver the steak
to
the barbecue, which I knew the guy was a genius. But that's the kind of story I love. To be part of a company that has a history. It
sounds like Nova Scotia. I've been in Nova Scotia 10 years. That's Nova Scotia.
Well, you do a version of that with Voila, so there you go. So
Yeah,
Voilà's your black
So
lab,
Well,
basically,
that's
right?
can you imagine that?
So
Imagine
voila
what-
was actually invented a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
that's
last. We're going to do a kind of a quick rapid round, but I wanted to ask you one question. You were famously once said that you agreed with 70% of what Sylvain says.
Yeah.
What's your final answer? You 70% a good number?
Yeah, I think 70%'s right. I think, and but I've always respected you and what you say, and you use a lot of data, which I love, right? But even today, I was reading a piece, and I think a lot of it was really good, and maybe some of it I don't agree. But he uses data, so I have to respect it. And I think that the more people who talk about our industry and explain it to people, and as you know, and as well as obviously my friend the food professor does, it's important. But I gotta tell you, 70% is a pretty good mark for me. I don't agree with a lot of things.
It's a pass
where
at
it's,
the undergraduate level.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, congratulations! You get your PhD in understanding.
But
workers, right?
I
think
only send them notes when I really when I really agree. I don't send anything if I totally disagree. So.
But I think Michael understands. I mean, you understand my job. My job is to critique and understand problems and try to allow Canadians to understand what these problems are.
I love that. And look, I respect anyone who does their job well and does the work behind it. Where I have trouble is with people who don't put in the work, give their opinions for whatever political reasons or for
whatever reason.
And there's a
reason,
lot
but they
of
don't.
that.
And there's a lot, and it's not fair to Canadians.
Very last question. What's next for you? In the spring, we'll be here in a heartbeat in a New York minute. What's next for you?
Well, this has been the long goodbye, right? And it's so I said in May that I would be retiring from Empire. I'm hoping that, and I gave the company and the board a year to be able to find someone. Hopefully, they find someone incredibly soon, because. I think 9 years is enough, honestly. I think it's a great run. I've had a ball. I'm still having a ball today.
Yep.
But it's time for someone else. But what's next for me? I will go, and my dad still works. I'm retiring from Empire. I'm not retiring.
Your dad still works?
He still works. He's a hard worker.
Unbelievable.
And
where is he now?
He's a doctor.
Okay.
He's a doctor, and he still works.
Wow.
And he's a role model to me. I've got a lot to still accomplish. I don't want to do anything like this again, because I don't think I can ever replicate the times we had, the fun we had, the angst we went through. I want to go and take a job that's completely different and keep working away, while honestly the word love of this company is the right word. I will always cheer for this company. I will do whatever it takes to help this company. And they gave me the chance to lead an iconic Canadian company, and I was fortunate.
Yeah,
I was very fortunate.
Well said.
Well, thank you for your time, Michael. But most importantly, thank you for what you've done for the industry overall. I think a lot of people beyond Sobeys appreciates your legacy that you're leaving behind.
Well, thank you.
So thank you very much.
Well, it's been a pleasure to be here, and thanks for the conversation today. It brings back some good memories.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.